Good evening, everyone. My name is Albert, and this is Vlogs About Nothing. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your night to join me. I do really appreciate it. This following vlog is dedicated to the lovely folks that are in charge of, oh, it's not called HBO anymore. Who knows what it's called, but the show that's in charge of paying John Oliver for putting on all of his wonderful casts here on YouTube. Okay, I don't very much appreciate censoring the main segment from the John Oliver show from the past episode because it talks about mass deportation and instead trying to troll everyone by releasing the first part of the show that has nothing to do with what the main story of the last episode of John Oliver's Daily Show is about. Not the Daily Show. Last week with John Oliver. Something. The show with John Oliver, I was so upset earlier because usually anytime a new John Oliver video gets posted, the John Oliver show, right? Whatever. Like anytime the new video gets posted, I get an alert and I watch it or whatever. But like I was supremely disappointed earlier when I was trying to find the main segment of the last episode that should have been broadcast here on YouTube that I thought contractually speaking, according to all of the words that I've heard John Oliver say as it concerns the new kind of agreements they had moving forward, I just didn't think they were gonna not show the most important segment, which really was the only reason that I thought HBO decided to cherry pick that show in to begin with, right? So they already don't release the entire show. They've only ever released the main segment, and I guess 10 years later, no, they have decided to release the full shows, but it's kind of hard to really grasp their full importance when they're released 10 years later, even if that person is still currently making new content, which all makes it kind of even more confusing. So I'm not sure if boomers are down, like wherever the new HBO or Cinemax is, or wherever that place is, making all of these really weird decisions that I'm not sure they have any experience making. But regardless, I'm a little upset that there's no John Oliver mass deportation segment out this week. And obviously, it's because the election is Tuesday. And I mean, like it matters. I mean, at this point, Donald Trump has committed treason. He's become a garbage man this week. JD Vance was on Joe Rogan earlier. He worked at McDonald's. There's really nothing, not even a John Oliver segment on mass deportation is going to change the unfortunate American electorate population next Tuesday's mind. It's just something that's not going to happen. So, like, again, to those aging boomers who do the programming down at the decisions, right? The decisions that are powered by sentient Homo sapien brains. It's not like it doesn't matter. I would much have rather have been entertained on the main segment than I would on John Leafwood or whoever. I mean, who cares? Yeah, I'm sure it was an interesting topic. I still don't know who the guy is. It's not a bad show in its whole entirety, but I am only going to be teased with the best. I don't want to be led into a program that I don't get to see the best part of because the good part of it is not the part that you're wanting to show. So, to all my immigrants out there, right? You know, understand that as a social capitalist, something that I'm unequivocally never going to change my mind about, and I feel like this scares some people, but I don't know why it would. And I think anybody under the age of 40 or especially 30 or even 20, I feel like the youngest of all of us would just simply be unabashed in supporting the idea that I'm for free borders. I'm for open borders, like facts. I'm interested in the recognition of national sovereignty, but I don't feel like there is any kind of group decision making body that should be in charge of such policies that concern large amounts of people trying to move to a place that they are going to have a better chance to live. It's, you know, if it's about survival, then I'd say welcome to the 21st century, and we live in a modern gilded age where none of us on this entire planet should go, without the very basic things that this planet does in fact provide, mostly all of which is free of charge, especially if you keep it all local. But all I'm saying is that I just think that it should be made a point that deportation is not something I'm interested in. It's not something that anybody in this country with half a brain is interested in. I think it's something the boomers are interested in. I think boomers and aging Xers are very interested in keeping the status quo, even if the status quo involves being systematically racist. And unfortunately, that involves black, brown, and any other shade of person that is walking around in this country that's not white. You feel me? I mean, this is a real thing that happens, and I feel terrible for all of the people that do want to just live peaceful, comfortable, normal lives. And if we were sold the dream that it was a melting pot, then why aren't we doing the obvious thing and listening to our pledge that we made to the flag and understanding that that is for everybody, right? Anybody and everybody that wants to be a part of our grand old experiment here without discrimination of like where you come from, you feel me? Like without assuming that you're gonna unalive somebody or that you're gonna take somebody's job that nobody here wants. I mean, all of these arguments that are really zero sum in the nature that they try to prove, in which like immigration should even be a talked about thing. So a friendly reminder, as to the general American public, Joe Biden did, and I think best called it out in saying that Trump supporters were garbage. You feel me? And again, with all due respect, you feel me? With all due respect. Like, I'm not trying to start a culture war with boomers or like aging Xers, you feel me? But like, look around you, aging Xers and boomers. I mean, is what you're doing the right thing? You feel me? Like, just like leaving garbage on the ground, is that like the right thing to do? Is that like how we protest, things that we don't like by continuing to make the problem worse? And that's just what we're going to do next week when we elect Donald Trump and he decides to literally start a culture war by implementing the largest mass deportation that this country has ever seen, right? And so that's scary. That's something that is going to happen. And I just wish that it wouldn't. You feel me? I wish that we could think about things before we did make those decisions to elect people that are single-handedly going to tear families apart beginning as soon as they're president-elect, just at this time next week. So I can't really, I don't really understand. I don't really have empathy or sympathy for the people who are going to put Trump in office, knowing that all of these things are going to happen, because we all know. They know. We know. I know. I do my best not to know anything, and I know. Because that's the way Elon Musk and Donald Trump and your boy JD Vance, who's on Joe Rogan again tonight, as a friendly reminder. As entertaining as Donald Trump is, I'm definitely not giving JD Vance 5 minutes of my time, much less 3 hours and 17 minutes. That's a thing. So, yeah, I don't really understand. Again, the Republicans are on it, yo. Like, if they were, selling lemonade at your local fair, they're selling the most lemonade. I mean, Donald Trump was in a garbage truck. He was collecting garbage. This is just, I can't make this stuff up, Like, it's interesting, though, how this is all going down. I feel almost as if the Republican Party is straight trolling all of us right now, and all of us are just eating it up, pretending like Tuesday is actually going to mean something for any of us, when in fact it's only going to mean something for those of us that have everything to lose. And I'm sorry to say that if you're an immigrant in this country at this time next week, I think maybe your whole entire life's going to change because of the person that we are going to elect to become our president. And just for the record, I'm not voting for him. I'm not voting for any of them. Absolutely not, because they're all the same. They're not going to change anything, and they're going to continue to make things worse. Point in fact, the largest mass deportation that's ever been recorded in United States history, taking place just probably days after this man is elected to be president-elect. I mean, this guy's promising to do things as president-elect that we should not put past this man. I'm just saying, this time he has nothing to lose. This time he won't be an incumbent. This time he is going to be concerned very strongly about the legacy that he leaves, primarily to his fundamental policy voters, the very people who support and put him in office with large donations, just like your Musks and anybody else like that who's interested in having that man at the forefront of making some of the most important decisions that in the future. I mean, the decisions that this man will make in the next 4 years will undoubtedly take a few years to undo at best. So I think we should all just be worried about how much work we're going to have to do after this man leaves the White House. And again, hopefully our immigrants will, it's not going to be a fun time. And we've known about it for some time, and I'm really disappointed with the American electorate. I can't say that I'm disappointed with people under the age of 40 because clearly we have no power. Clearly we still are just being told what to do, and clearly what we think and what we want to happen doesn't matter. That's been pretty clear. That's been point heard. You know, you want people to sign up to go to war when they're 18. You want people to have certain things only available like when they're 21. We don't want to talk about lowering the voting age. We don't want to talk about the student loan bubble. We don't want to talk about the impending new housing crisis that is definitely going to fall within the next few years as we begin to finally see prices come down to a level where people that actually can afford them will in fact buy them. So, I mean, there's lots of things, I guess, to look forward to. Holy potatoes. I hope that you guys, and again, without question and without any dark humor, I cannot say that I am happy about what's going to begin happening next week as it concerns all of our immigrants. I think we should, as Americans, really, really start to think about who we elect in office and the impact that it has. Maybe not on us, you feel me, directly. Like, or maybe you don't have somebody in your family that would be impacted, or maybe you don't care, but you should. If you don't have anybody in your family that's an immigrant, that's fine. That doesn't make you a bad person, but you still should care about them. And you still should care that their lives are entirely going to get upended next week when Donald Trump becomes our president because of all of the campaign promises that he's made, and because places like CBS or HBO Max or Max BO or whatever is continuing to also perpetuate a narrative where people aren't even allowed to discuss the major policy topics that actually are going to matter next week, like mass deportation. So I know I'm not John Oliver, but hey, I hope that we were able to talk a little bit about how mass deportation is in fact one of the most un-American, one of the most unethical, and arguably the most evil thing that you can do to any group of population that ever wants to live within your country. So, kudos to the commander-in-chief who committed treason and seems to have a Midas touch as it concerns all of the boomer psyche and their voting interests. And I think that's all real messed up, because all of what I've just said is in fact true. And when this happens next week, we will only have ourselves to blame, because we have done this again. We not only did this once, but we did this twice. So can we please learn from this lesson this time? Seriously, we can't afford to go through this again. It's going to be a really expensive, a really tumultuous, a really life-changing, and not in a good way experience for a lot of people these next 4 years. So again, oh man, it gets tiring talking about this circus. I hope this is not my circus. Those are not my monkeys. This is not my circus. That's all I gotta say, right? If you're under the age of 40, you know what I'm saying exactly. Or if you're a cool Xer and you have like common sense and you're a good person, I'm for you as well, right? And for the very, very marginalized boomer community who happen to be good people as well, I stand beside all 12 of you. You feel me? So I hope that you guys have a really good night. Thanks for watching my show. And again, I think it's a terrible, terrible, deplorable thing that we've decided to elect a man who is going to deport hundreds of thousands of people for no reason other than the fact that he's trying to sell you the fear thing. The fear thing, right? Don't let people into this country. They're not going to do anything good. They just want to harm us. That's not what's going down, man. You feel me? Like, it's not at all. But we can wish everybody luck. I hope that you guys have a really good night, all right? Bye.